can't believe I'm talking to Mike Dalida right now. This is
Yeah.
All right, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Electric Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, the Electric One, and today I have a special guest host. He makes so much sense for this episode for multiple reasons. He's a former league manager, and he's also a troll of one of our other guests here today, and that is Mr. Michael Dalida. Mike, how's it going? Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Good. Thanks for inviting me. It's good to be here.
Yeah,
I've seen so many of the episodes that I'm glad I'm on it now.
So how many years were you in the league?
I was in, I started probably in 05 or in 06 there, and then just kept morphing. People left Gale, and I was on it in the league probably for 10 years, and I won it once.
Wow. Who did you beat in the finals? Do you remember?
I beat David Zembeck.
There it goes. All right. Well, that's
a good
cool.
Friend of mine. So every Sunday we would text back and forth and so on. And then when we were both in the finals, I didn't like him that day, but I really wanted to beat him, and luckily I did. And it was nice because it was over like after the 1 o'clock games. So that was I could relax. It was nice.
Enjoy your Sunday, maybe have a cocktail, all that.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Yeah, I bet you could use a cool one, huh?
Now you're talking.
But yeah, so obviously you worked at Gale. Anyone that's watching this probably knows that because you worked there for how many years?
22 years.
22 years. What are you at, Larry?
I'm at 14.
14. Chris is around like 20. The Haynes and McKellar are around 20s.
Yeah.
So you're definitely like a long time OG Gale Gale member, and it makes so much sense for you to be on this episode where I will reintroduce 2 league managers who have already been on the podcast this year, and that is 2 teams that are tied for second place going into this week. That is the manager of the LT Warriors, Larry Thomas, and then the manager of Team Lemon, Tommy. Boys, how you guys doing?
doing great.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Larry. I'm talking over you. I'm already talking over you on this podcast. No, it's great to be here. It's funny coming into this, didn't realize Mr. The great Mike Dalida was going to be on this podcast. So, it's good to see some new faces I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, it's good to be back with you, Eric. I mean, it was a great surprise to see Mike Dalida pop up and surprise us. And
not a good surprise, just a surprise.
To show up. I haven't seen him in a while, but yeah, it's a nice surprise, man.
So
Tom and Larry? Which one of you said, God, I know that guy? Who is that guy? He's kind of an ass, but I remember him.
When he said we got a special guest, I had a couple of people in mind.
Who'd you think it was?
I thought first, I was like, he gonna pull Rob in here somehow. He's gonna get Rob. And then I said, no, he might pull Joe in. He might grab Joe.
It was Joe or Dalida was what it came down to. But Dalida made more sense because he was been in the league. Joe would make more sense because we all sat together. So that was Joe Williams was the other one. But it could still happen. I can still get Joe on here. So.
I know you can.
Yeah, but thanks you guys for having us. Thank you for coming on. We're going to do a couple different segments today. 2 that are specific to the people I have in this Zoom call with me. So it's going to be a lot of fun. If you watched last week's, we did talk about Michigan, Ohio State week. This week, the game is on Saturday in Columbus at the Shoe. So that is what the toilet. Steve, go ahead and feel free to cut me off or cut him off if you want to get some jabs in. So
I'm ready to go. Let's do this, man.
Whoa. let's just get a quick roundtable here. We have 3 Michigan State fans and a Michigan fan in this room. So let's start with the Michigan fan and Mr. Mike Dalida. What was your expectations going into the game, Mike? And after the first quarter, were you still like, we're gonna get blown out? And then, but just tell me how your timeline went before the game to after the game of what was going on in your head.
My expectation was if Michigan can make it a game, stay within a touchdown, 3 points, something like that, not get blown out like 4 or 5 years ago, which was, what was it, 67-23, something like that. I really didn't think that would happen because their defense is a lot better. I wasn't comfortable until Donovan Edwards' his first touchdown, which made it, 38-23? Then I got a little confident there. I've seen enough Michigan collapses over the last 40 years.
Didn't they have like 1 rushing yard? Was it after the first or halftime? Someone correct me if I'm wrong. It was, yeah, they had 1 rushing yard. I'm like, okay, they have to pass, and that's not McCarthy's, MO. And then they just ran the ball and won. Like, yeah. I mean, so Harbaugh coached a hell of a second half. I mean,
he did.
I'm not a fan of him at all in any aspect, but
98, game 2, America's game of the week, coming up after these messages.
I heard about this today on the radio too. Like, what do you think the future? Should I wait to ask this? No, I'm going to do it now. What do you think the future is for Ohio State's head coach? Do you think him losing twice in a row to Michigan when that hasn't happened? Was it 2006? Did they win in 2006?
No, the last time Ohio State, 2 times was 99 and 2000.
Yeah. Okay. So in 22 years, that hasn't happened. And now it's happening. Like, do you see them making a move there or?
Not immediately, Eric. I kind of feel that, but the pressure's on him though, without a doubt, because I had the feeling once he had left, when Urban Meyer left back, I don't know, was it 2017, 2018? I kind of felt like once Urban's players got out of there and then Ryan Day had to recruit, you kind of would see Ohio State come down a little bit because the name alone is, could bring him in, but you got to be able to coach the players. And I just never thought he was that type of coach. Urban Meyer's a game changer. He's a guy that can come in and motivate players and just get after him. The reason Ohio State was ever where they were was because of him, because he changed how recruiting happened in the Big Ten and all of that. And then with Ryan Day, he hoped to continue that, but eventually, unless you have that magic or that type of feel or as a coach, a fear of a coach like him, when he came in, players feared him, and they knew if they wanted to get what they had to do, they had to play if they were going to stay on the team. So, yeah, he won't go immediately, but he better. I mean, for him, what will help him this year is if somehow or some way
they can get in, yeah,
or USC lose this weekend, he gets in, they win the whole thing, then the pressure will probably be off him.
It's amazing how much pressure you have on you. What is he, 27-2 in the last
Here's the thing.
I mean, people are talking about him fighting.
He's 45-5. He's 45-5 with 2 college football playoff appearances. By the way, they could have a 3rd this year. He's on the doorstep every year. He dominates recruiting. Ryan Day is not going anywhere. And honestly, to think that he's on the hot seat is a wild overreaction, especially with Luke Fickell having taken the Wisconsin job. I don't think that Ohio State is looking out there thinking there's a better candidate that they can get their hands on.
Well, there's a better candidate now. The better candidate is the previous guy that was there before. Because he got phone call.
Can we talk about his
Saturday?
You think Urban Meyer is a better candidate than Ryan Day? Urban Meyer,
Ohio State
spring break nonsense.
It's already began. I love it.
Jaguars in less than one season, he managed to ruin an entire NFL franchise. Everything the guy touches turns to garbage.
We live under the world of E plus R equals O. That means you can't control events in your life. You can control how you respond positively and move forward.
Yeah, so what would be, as a coach, give us a sense of kind of what that next step is? I know you talk a ton about the response. You talk a ton about the psychology of.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
And yes, he had that run at Ohio State, but let's not forget all the nonsense that happened with that. I feel like he, I don't know. I wouldn't touch that guy with the 10-foot pole if I'm an athletic director.
I'm telling you right now, Urban Meyer got phone calls Saturday from several boosters asking him, how serious would you be willing to come back?
Yeah.
No, because they know that the reason they were at that point was because of him. That's why they were where they were. If it wasn't for Jim Tressel had a good thing going, but Urban Meyer took it to the point. I mean, Ryan Day he's a nice guy, a good guy, but some people are better as coordinators than they are as head coaches. That's all I'm saying.
45-5.
I hear you. But if he don't get the playoff and he lose next year, I guarantee you Ohio State's gonna have a new coach.
What's losing next year? I mean, if he goes 11-1 next year, he's
John Cooper. John Cooper.
You wanted to fire Jim Leland for Joe Madden.
Yeah, I did. I give the hook on people quick. But you remember, I know I'm going way back here, but back in the 90s, was it John Cooper at Ohio State? He always had great records, but he kept losing to Michigan.
Yeah.
You got to be careful with that.
Rival.
Be careful what you ask for. Let's not forget, Nebraska fires Frank Solich because he goes 9-3 every year. Then they have 2 decades of just horrible football. It's like at some point you just, if you're going 11-1, if you're a fan base, you have to sit back and say, you know what, 11-1, that's a pretty good season. Even if we lose to Michigan here and there. The expectations are just unbelievable these days. I don't want to be like a these days kind of guy, but it's ridiculous.
I agree.
So can we just talk about Urban Meyer's analyst? So he was the analyst for that game at halftime. He said the same thing 4 times. I've been in this situation before. I know how these 2 teams play. Oh, do you, Urban? Do you know how these 2 teams play? He goes, you have to dominate the line of scrimmage. You have to dominate the line of scrimmage. Yeah. It's like, yeah, obviously if you dominate the line of scrimmage, you should win a football game. I mean, yeah. He's only on that analyst thing because of his name.
Ain't no fucking way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy. Ain't no fucking way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Yes. Yes.
But
100%.
To wrap this, go ahead.
Real quick, did you know he doesn't say the word Michigan? He'll always say Wolverines.
Yes.
Which, come on, you're an analyst. Say Michigan. If you're the coach, a player, okay, fine. But come on, you're supposed to be an objective an analyst. He can't say Michigan.
Yeah, he ain't never going to say it because that's just it. Is he's never going to do it. School up north or Wolverines. It's just a safe word for it.
But so this whole this just happened. This little segment was not even a segment, and you saw these 2 are already rolling eyes at each other, going at it. This is the reason why I brought them 2 on, and this is the reason why I brought Mike on to help moderate this. So that's going to be the main event, though. That's down the line. We still have to talk a little bit about fantasy football. I mentioned that Tom and Larry are both tied for second place. Tom, last week, you ran into a buzzsaw in Kenny. Was that last week or the week before?
The week before, but then last week I think like the week before was Kenny. But yeah, I'm on a losing streak because I'm running into teams just putting up, massive points.
You put up the second most points both weeks and lost. Yeah.
Which honestly, though, look, that's part of head-to-head in fantasy football. Some bad luck, and here I am all of a sudden scraping to get a bye for the playoffs. I actually haven't even clinched a playoff spot yet. So
you're at 90, I think 99%. I think I saw today, but you have McKella. No, you have Doug this week. So I think Doug's a lock for the playoffs, but this is a big game. I mean, you have the edge here, and you have some ties in this game tonight. You have Stevenson going. So, I apologize that we're doing this during Thursday Night Football, but most Thursday Night Football games are literally the most boringest thing I've ever watched. So let's just get into that real quick. Do you win that this week against McKella, and how many points does Stevenson get tonight?
I think you know what? I think I do win this
Not
week.
Michael Hansen. Sorry,
Yeah,
Doug.
I think I win this week because I can't imagine if I could. I mean, look, I've been pretty consistent. The one thing my team's done this year is be consistent. I feel like I put up at least 110 a week at a minimum, and I just feel like if I do that again for a third week in a row, what are the odds I run into another buzzsaw? And I do think Stevenson, even though he's going against a good defense tonight, he's been so consistent for me this season. He's part of the reason I'm in the position I am, is because he's kind of come out of nowhere. And he's consistent because he catches the ball out of the backfield. Even when he goes against difficult defenses, they dink and dunk to him. And that's why I think in a full PPR that we're in, he's gonna get me a baseline, a floor of 15 points, a ceiling of 25, and I'll be on my way. So I'm not guaranteeing a victory here. I'm just saying, I think I squeak one out.
Does Doug have a good team this year?
Yeah. Shout out to Doug, by the way. I'm not gonna lie, Doug, you rarely makes the playoffs. I say that in the nicest way. I think Doug had a good draft. Doug's team is 7-5. I think he's like 70% locked to make the playoffs. He needs a lot of bad stuff to happen to him for him not to make it. So I would say he has a solid team.
Oh, he's good for him.
Yeah, and then Larry, it's another great matchup this week. You have Al.
Yes.
So Al is sitting in first place. So so Tom's invested in this because he wants to get that first place spot back, because Tom does have more points than Al does going into this week. So what do you think, Larry? This is going to be, projections right now are 119, 120. You already got 4 points from Tyler Bass tonight. So that's a good start for you, especially as your kicker. I think he's probably the best kicker in the league this year, or points wise.
Yes.
He beat her. Oh my God, that I don't even want to talk about Thanksgiving. But so what do you think going into this week, Larry? Will you win, and how many points will Tyler Bass get tonight?
Well, first of all, Tyler Bass, if he can give me 10 tonight, or heck, give me 12, I'll be all right, because I just need him to give me 12 points, and I'll be okay if he can do that. If you give me more than that, I'll be even happier. I think I win it tonight, this week, against Al, because the last time I played Al, I mean, man, he had, who was it, Hutchinson's, who he had on his team. His tight end and his running back killed me, because I thought I was going to win that game the first time against him. And then his running back and his tight end, I'm going to his team right quick just to look at it. They just had an unbelievable game. I think they had like 40 points. That was the last time that he had Eckler and then Hawkinson. Yeah. Those players had great games the last time we played. And he just, because he has his quarterback, he has Joe Burrow. He played on a Thursday night, and then Joe Burrow didn't have a great game that night. I was like, okay, hey, I may go ahead and win this game. And then, but Eckler and Hawkinson just killed me. I think he had like 40, 45, and 48 points. He just blew it open. So it was just one of those weird, I can't see that happening again this week. So I kind of feel my team should win, especially my team we've been in every game. We haven't been like destroyed by anybody, but we should be able to win this game this week and eke this one out and be in first place. Be in first place.
This is why I love this league, Mike. I say this, like, if you remember too from when you're in this league, there's always like everybody has the same record except for me this year. But God, you want to talk about bad luck, man? Oh my goodness, I lost another Monday Night Football game last week. But yeah, it's not my year. But I'm already setting up for next year. I'd love to introduce a keeper next year. I'm really going to pull for that, but that's neither here nor there.
I just want to say real quick, I love how Larry refers to his team as we. He's like a true head coach,
Right.
My guys went out there this week. We really put up a fight, but we came up short, I love it, Everyone else goes first person, you go collective. We're the we,
Yeah.
It's not
I like to hear his speech in the locker room before the game.
We got to get
out. He probably
there.
does do that. Like Sunday at 12:55, he's like, all right, boys, come on.
Get myself all pumped up for the games before they kick off, man.
He's got his hat on. He looks like Mike Tomlin. He takes his glasses off, and just right there. By the way, Mike, shout out to your sweatshirt. Show that thing off, man. Yeah.
What are you gonna say? Awesome. Breeders' Cup. I knew you were a horse guy, but that's awesome. Have you been to Breeders' Cup?
That is great.
Many years ago, I went in 2003 when it was in Chicago at Arlington Park.
Awesome.
It was great. It was great.
Mike always gives Chris and I horse picks, and he's like, all right, those are 3 guys you can cross off your list because they're not winning.
And that's usually right too.
Yeah, all right. So before we move on from fantasy football, I need a prediction. Who's gonna be in the championship with you? I'll ask Tom first. Because don't be non-common. Like, I'm not gonna be in the championship.
Okay, all right. Let's say I get a bye, I get there. I feel like it's actually going to be one of those teams who kind of like one of the teams who doesn't have a bye, who has to play a quarterfinal. I feel like one of those teams is going to sneak up. And you know what? Just for the sake of podcast entertainment, I think it's going to be Larry. I think Larry.
Oh, first year championship. Wow.
I think I don't know. I think it's going to happen. I like Larry's team a lot. I really do. I think you got Latavius Murray as like all of a sudden a number 1 back because they literally cut Melvin Gordon. You got George Kittle on the rise, looking like the George Kittle of old. I think here's what it comes down to for you, Larry. Obviously, Tyreek Hill's a monster. I think if Tom Brady starts throwing the ball again to Mike Evans, which he's just stopped doing for the past several weeks, if he remembers that Mike Evans is a 6'5" weapon who can help their team win, I think you're going to be there against me. So,
all right, Larry, are you going to pick Tom then?
Actually, before he said it, I was going to say Tom.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yup. You want to go do karate in the garage? Yup.
Because the last time we played, he actually beat me by 1 point, man. 1 stinking point. And I was kind of like, man, this
I
thing
feel bad.
here. And don't feel bad.
Mike Boone needed one. He needed like a couple points for you, and he got 0 points.
And I cut him, by the way, afterwards, because I was
yeah.
You're out of here, guy. You bobbled a pass. They could have won me the game, but I lost by 1 point. I think it's going to be Todd, but the guy I'm keeping my eye on that is just winning with the strangest team is Al, though, because to me, it's just like, I'm looking at his team, it's just like, who are these guys on your team, man? And you keep winning. And like I told you a couple of weeks ago with Hawkinson and Eckler, it's just like, okay, these are nobody. But I mean,
Eckler's a nobody? Come on.
Yeah, well, not a nobody, but I'm sorry, I can't call them the Los Angeles Chargers, the San Diego Chargers. I mean, come on. They're not having a great year.
Austin Eckler is the number 1 running back in fantasy football this year, points wise.
I know. and I guess he knows that because he keeps telling me, "Give me the ball." Keep scoring points, but
just keep passing to him. I'm cool. I have him in my other league. So all right, so you guys pick each other, which is cool. That's nice and nice and friendly because what we're about to get into is the next segment of the show. And I call it the buy or sell.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you
We don't care. Jerry.
All right.
Okay.
And so basically what I want to compare this to is kind of like PTI mixed with First Take. We're going to go around in a round table. We're each going to pick a buy and we're going to pick a sell. And then we'll just discuss it quickly. Like, you defend why you picked that. It could be anything to do with sports. Like, I'll start first. You guys have an example, and then we'll just, once, I'm done explaining why I did that, then you guys can jump in and we can say if you buy or you sell it. All right. It's pretty simple. Like, you can think something off the top of your head, something that just happened this week or today, even. You can talk about the World Cup, whatever you want. I'm going to start off with a sell. And I am selling Odell Beckham Jr. This guy is a clown.
I'm sitting here watching him pace up and down this sideline, but something that did happen this time around, his quarterback, Eli Manning, coming over, his wide receivers coach, Adam Henry, getting in his face, grabbing him, and telling him to knock it off. He hasn't simmered down at all, though, guys. He is mad.
This guy is an absolute clown. I would never want this guy on my team ever. He's a very, very talented football player, and he can pick any team he wants to go to, but he makes the game about himself. And this whole airplane situation, no, man, I'm sorry. I don't care what he says. It was not a medical issue. The guy is known for every time he gets on a flight, he puts a blanket over his head. He's no like that's come out and said that he does that on team planes. And then you know what really pissed me off when I saw that is when the Rams got their Super Bowl rings. He wasn't even on their roster anymore, and he's the one holding up the damn trophy. Like, I don't that irks me. That irks me. I know he had a lot to do with them winning the Super Bowl, and him and Stafford had a great connection there. But I'm selling this guy. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I do not want this guy. You already have enough publicity in that city. He already played for the Giants. I think that would make more sense for him to go to the Giants, but I don't think him and Daniel Jones will have a good thing going there, so that he might be toxic to Daniel Jones. But I'm selling OBJ. What are you guys doing with OBJ? Do you guys want this guy on your team if you're about to go to the playoffs? Like I said, obviously really high talent, but you know, we don't know what he's been doing since his injury. So are you buying or selling? I'm going to start with my co-host today, Mr. Dalida. I'm selling.
No, ever since he left the Giants, right? That was his first team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't liked him, his antics. Yeah, no, I'd sell him in a minute. I wouldn't, if the Lions were the Lions of last year, I wouldn't take them when they didn't have any, they had one decent wide receiver. I wouldn't want him. Cancer in the clubhouse.
I would have to also sell him too, man, because he's just a big drama guy, you know, always keeping problems going. And this whole thing about, I could pick it like the Thanksgiving Day game. Do I play for Dallas? Do I play for the Giants? Whoever wins gets my services. Man, if you haven't been playing all year, there's a reason you haven't been playing all year. People are tired of you. They're tired of your antics. So I totally agree. Sell on OBJ big time.
Tom?
I'm buying him. I'm buying him. Look, when he's healthy, he's an elite receiver. You say all this, he brings teams down. He's a locker room cancer. They won the Super Bowl with him. The Rams won the Super Bowl with him, and partially because of him just last year. So I don't care if he's a locker room cancer or not. He can help you win a Super Bowl. And if we've learned one thing about NFL football, it's that morality and off the field stuff, teams don't care. They do not care. They care about one thing, and it's winning. And I think if you can get a guy like this late, like Odell Beckham Jr. with that kind of talent this late in the season, you absolutely go ahead and do it. So if I'm any GM in the league who's in contention for a playoff spot and can find a way to get him, I'm buying.
All right. So I know that this isn't exactly the same way, but do you think Antonio Brown could help a football team?
No, because he wasn't that good towards the end there. And also
he wasn't that good. He helped the Bucs win a Super Bowl.
He was, I mean, he just wasn't, he was okay. I'm just saying Odell Beckham is a way better. Also, the problems are way different. Antonio Brown's problems, first of all, it's likely he has CTE, like active CTE, that's really like affecting his brain. I don't see that with Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham was not doing, yes, he may be a selfish receiver, but that's the MO for a lot of like classic great NFL receivers. Is sort of like, it's about me, like it's about the antics, it's about being a diva. That's kind of like what makes some receivers great. With Antonio Brown, I really think that there was some mental health problems going on there. And he was a loose cannon in a way that Odell Beckham is not a loose cannon. I think if Odell Beckham joins a team, he's going to show up and play, and you couldn't guarantee that with Antonio Brown. So I think it's apples and oranges.
Sorry to bring up Antonio Brown, but he has a warrant out for his arrest in Texas.
I was gonna say the same thing.
We're talking about putting a blanket over you on a plane versus having a warrant out for your arrest. I'm just saying these are different things. So,
but he was the clown going on Twitter afterwards saying that this is bullshit. I've never, they treated me terribly. Dude, just put your seatbelt on.
Yes. Yeah.
That's literally solved the problem. When you sit down, put your seatbelt on before you go in and out of consciousness.
Can you imagine having to deplane because somebody won't fasten their seatbelt?
Imagine if
you're right. That'd be frustrating.
Imagine if you have a wife and kids someday, Tom, and you're coming home from Disney World and you have Odell Beckham Jr. on the plane and you have to deplane your whole family because this guy is too effing good to put his seatbelt on.
All right, how about this? I'm buying unless I'm on the same plane as Odell Beckham and he delays my trip, in which case I'm selling.
All right, Miss Dalida, who are you selling? Or what are you selling?
I'm gonna make a lot of enemies maybe even between you three, but people watching, is the World Cup. I told myself before it started, I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to watch. Now that I have time on my hands, I can watch in the morning, in the afternoon. I have probably watched not that much, maybe 2 hours of soccer games. I've seen 0 goals. I've seen 1 shot on goal. I can't do it. I don't know. And the thing about not the overtime, but the extra time, only the official knows. It's like, let's get with the 20th century, or stop the clock. There's a injury, stop the clock. Can you imagine if the NBA didn't have a clock and only the official knew what it was?
Yeah. I do love just the random nature of it's like, yeah, there's a few minutes.
I think we got 9 minutes left. We're not really sure.
You'll find out how much time's on the clock when I blow my whistle, It's like,
but it wouldn't have been quite as bad if you get, 4-3 scores, 5-4, 3-2. Like I said, I've yet to see a goal.
Are you going to watch Netherlands US on Saturday morning?
Yep. As much as I can. I don't know how much I can, but I'm gonna try. I'll stick with it.
All right, Tom, you're up first then. Are you buying or selling the World Cup?
Okay, first of all, to sell the World Cup is so funny. I'm going to sell the biggest sporting event in the world. Like, I'm just going to
I'm going to sell Olympics too.
The world is wrong here. But no, I'm going to buy the World Cup generally, but I'm going to sell as just like a selfish American. I'm going to sell it being in like the worst opposite time zone. Because I during the week, I gotta be working, and even though I tell myself, oh, I'll turn on the TV, like I'm not really paying attention. And like Saturday, like it'd be cool to do something with people, watch the game, but like 9 in the morning, like I'm drinking a cup of coffee.
Brunches, mimosas, bloodies.
Yeah, I don't know. That's too early even to start day drinking.
So you're selling it because it's on so early because they're playing in Qatar.
I'm not selling it. I'm buying the World Cup. There's been some great drama, but I'm selling the fact that I can't watch a lot of it. So, I'm sort of split in the middle here.
Larry?
I'm agreeing with Mike Dalida, and I'm selling it. And I'm selling it for this reason, man. It's on at the wrong time of the year. I know why they're doing it, but the point is, if you're going to have the World Cup, have it when you're supposed to have it.
I agree.
Have it in the summertime. I understand the crazy temperatures, the wind and the dust and all of the stuff that they went with, but it takes away from the drama of it. And to be honest, like Mike has said, I've watched 0 of the World Cup because the point is, it's on too early. It's during, like you said, they got the Netherlands and US are playing Saturday. Man, I'm ready for college football on Saturday. So I just don't have the time to give to the World Cup. It's just on at the wrong time. And I understand why they did it, but next time you may want to think about where you're having it. Keep it where you can keep it in its normal spot, because it's bigger during the summertime where a lot of people can sit down and actually enjoy it.
It's a good thing. We don't have Haynes and McKella on this when it's literally all I talk about at work. But for me, I'm buying the World Cup, and the reason why I'm buying it is I've only watched the US games. Okay. I did put some wagers down on them to make it more interesting. Because I love being an underdog. I love seeing the USA as an underdog, and they weren't even supposed to get to this point. So now they're playing this Netherlands teams that are they favored to win? No, but I think it's gonna be more of a coin flip. Yeah, they've only scored 2 goals and let up 1 in 3 games. But it's a testament to the way they play, though, right? Like they're very aggressive, but once they get the lead, I hate that they stand back. But another reason why I'm buying the World Cup is I watched that game against Iran. They had to win that game. They couldn't draw. They had to win. I was watching it during work. My heart was racing, man. The last 10 minutes of that game, if you watched it, Iran had so many times where they were in the box, and then like they're arguing for a handball, and then they can go and like review it, and like like a football game. Yeah,
I thought it was over. I thought for sure they were going to give it.
He didn't touch it though. Like his hand never touched the ball. Like it hit, like it went up his body,
Yeah.
And then like that one, they said he got tripped. The goalie tripped him. Like, but I'm like, no, the goalie has the right to the ball. But they said no, the guy behind him pushed him into the. There's so much, but I'm buying it just for the excitement factor, and I love being an underdog in that situation because you know when you watch the Olympics, the USA is never really the underdog. You know, some events they are, but I feel like this is literally having. I called it in last week's podcast. I feel like it's a Super Bowl every single day in Qatar because it's like you have so many people for all these countries. You know, not like states like Michigan. You know, you don't have like LA coming to Detroit to watch at Ford Field to watch the Rams playing the Super Bowl. You know, this is something completely different. So I am buying it.
Have you put a bet on a team to win the whole thing?
I have.
I'm looking to do that.
I bet on you. I bet on the USA for every round. So every time they win, I get more money. My dark horse, and it's looking really good, is Japan.
Really?
They knocked off Spain today, and they beat Germany. Two teams that they were not supposed to beat.
But
so
the weird thing is they lost to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Lost to Spain like 6-0. It makes no sense.
Yeah. But Japan, they said matchup wise, like they have like, so now they're playing Croatia. So that's going to be a fun match to watch on Monday. But yeah, so let's go to Larry. What's your sell?
Man, I'm going to probably, you be shocked by this, but I'm selling on Mel Tucker, man. I'm selling on him.
Talk coming.
Tuck coming, baby. Let's go green, baby.
Yeah, he going as far as I'm concerned. Because
you want him gone. You want him gone. Come on, man.
And the reason being is here's my thing with him. When he first came, Michigan State went to him and asked him to be the head coach. A lot of people don't know. He told them no. And he was at Colorado. He told him no. But Michigan State went back and begged, and then they paid him more money and offered him. Then he took the job, and then he took the job at Michigan State and all. But then, when he came, I'm just a guy, when you tell us no at first, it's like, man, do you really want the job or not? So when he comes in, and then last year, he had a great year with Kenneth Walker and K9 and all those things.
With you. And the Spartans. Kenneth Walker. Touchdown, Michigan State. 27 yards.
And everybody's like, oh, LSU may get him or whatever. We need to pay him more money. I was one of the main people that don't pay him that money. The reason why is because I believe a coach, you got to earn it. You want
Deion Sanders, don't you? You want Deion. That's what it is.
The guy I wanted to be the coach at Michigan State actually just went to Wisconsin, and that was. I wanted
Pat Narduzzi. That's really who I wanted. But.
And I wanted him too, and then I also wanted my man at Iowa State for him to come in and be the coach. Matt Campbell. And I just felt that for Mel, it's just, to me, I think he's a great recruiter, but I've always said that just because you can recruit him don't mean you can coach him. I mean, you got to be able to do both. Now, he could turn me around and all, but at this day and this time, I'm selling on Mel Tucker, man.
I'll go next here. Just to get out of the way. I'm buying Mel Tucker. I like that he changed, like kind of like he didn't completely change like the Michigan State like mentality and atmosphere of D'Antonio, but he put his own spark on the team. Like I do think they are tough. I really hate what happened after the Michigan game. Yeah. I don't think that has to really do with coaching. I really don't. I think it has to do with a lot of factors, built up frustration. They were expecting to play so much better that day. Probably, and you don't know what was said on the field between those players and stuff during the game. I'm not justifying any of that, but I'm buying Mel Tucker. I think he's deserves at least a few more years. I mean, but the only thing I'm selling is, I mean, you don't have to do this all game long, man. I mean, come on, man. To keep chopping, keep scoring some touchdowns. Keep pass the damn ball. Complete the ball.
Yeah.
Tom?
I'm buying. I mean, to your point, Eric, about him like kind of changing the culture. Like, look, we had gotten like the D'Antoni era was great, but like we prided ourselves on getting 3 stars and turning them to like developing them and turning them into players. And the expectation became to just recruit 3, maybe a few 4-star players. Mel Tucker is like, no, we're a national program. We can get 5-star guys. We can go after the same guys Ohio State's going after. And he starts to get these guys. And that's something, if you want to be a truly elite program, if you want to be a real like CFP contender, you need to think big like that. And he thinks big like that. That's one. Two, he's beaten Michigan twice. Okay. 2 out of 3 years, he beat them twice. Okay. So that should go a long way. And then finally, he went 11-2 last year and won us a New Year's Six game. Like, talk about what have you done for me lately, Larry over here. I mean, come on, unbelievable.
Plus, they won that game without K9.
Yeah, exactly. The Peach Bowl or the Cotton Bowl, whatever it was. I don't know what bowl it was, the Peach Bowl.
The thing is, man, is that, I mean, I know Mike Dalida, he's got to give his opinion too. I want to get is that with Mel is just that I'm just not buying anything that he's selling right now. I just feel that the team, in some ways, I think I wonder what our identity is. Michigan State had one thing that, even regardless of what the years, you knew our defense was top notch. We were never this bad, like 130th out of 131 teams. That's pitiful. And I know he's getting 5 stars and all of the good recruits, but you got to be able to coach it.
Oh,
that's what I need to see.
Hey, Larry, I'm selling Scotty Hazelton. Don't get me wrong. I'm selling Scotty Hazelton, but I'm just buying Mel Tucker. They're not a package deal. So,
Mike,
I'm buying them. I mean, 2 full seasons. You got to give him another couple of years at least. I mean, what did Harbaugh have? 6 years? I mean, the people wanted.
They wanted him out. Yeah, 2000
turned it
2020.
around.
They wanted him out.
And didn't the first 3 or 4 years of D'Antonio, didn't he have a couple of just average years? Didn't he lose to Central his first second or third years?
2010.
Was that the Colt Brennan year?
Colt Brennan. Well,
when Colt Brennan was around? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that was a Central's quarterback. Yeah.
No. Oh no, Colt Brennan was Hawaii's quarterback. He was never Central's quarterback.
No,
who am I thinking of?
We did lose to Central. I know what you mean, though.
What'd you say, Tom? What'd you say?
Cooper Rush. He was later.
No.
Lefevre.
Yeah, Dan, right?
Yeah, it was him. Yeah, and he was chucking it up to. It wasn't Antonio Brown, but it was in another like Brian Anderson or something. He was like a 6'6" dude. Just killed deep ball after deep ball.
So Mike's
unless he's a real disaster, you got to give him 4 years. Now, if he goes 500 the next 2 years, okay, maybe look at it. But no, if you want, get rid of him. I guess more turnover, better for Michigan, and a little more chaotic for Michigan State and go under a whole new regime and everything. But I wouldn't do it.
It's on Tom.
Yes, Tom.
I am selling. This is going to be an obvious one. I hope we're all selling this. I'm selling the Washtenaw County prosecutor for laying charges and just being like, let's ruin like 7 kids' lives from when they get like, and don't get me wrong, inexcusable what happened in the tunnel, Michigan State game, but they were quick to press charges and frankly, honestly, ruin some kids' lives because those charges will carry with them forever. Because of really things that one guy did and a few of them, crowded around in the heat of competition. And then this Maisie, what's his name? Maisie Smith, defensive tackle for Michigan, October 7th has like gun charges, and it takes him however many weeks for the county prosecutor to finally bring charges after he's played an entire season and will continue to play. So it's just funny, Harbaugh, the absolute hypocrisy of like, I want to see charges as soon as possible. And of course, the Washtenaw County, where's Ann Arbor, by the way, Washtenaw County, the Washtenaw County prosecutor immediately brings those, but then just sits on this Maisie Smith stuff for weeks. Look, I'm not saying that Maisie Smith should also go down. I'm just saying that like, there should be some consistency, when these things happen. That's all.
Tom, it's Mozzie. Okay, let's get the first name.
Is it Mozzie? Is it Mozzie?
Mozzie Smith. Yeah.
You know what's funny is I always thought it was Maisie, and I was just like, oh, because like maize and blue. I don't know. Whatever.
It's true.
I'm selling as well. I liked what Izzo said when like they interviewed him. They're like, what do you think about Michigan State getting fined 100? And he's just like, I think it's awful. I think it's absolutely awful.
Yeah, I'm completely upset about it. I think to get $100,000 fine, the suspension of a player is fine, but to get a fine like that, and then the other school gets reprimanded. What the hell does reprimanded mean?
He's just like, he had his reasonings. Like, I really do think it's not the first time that something's happened in that tunnel with teams and at the big house. And if you're going to have both teams go through the same tunnel, you've got to have some more security than that. You got to have more organization than that. Like, I've been to NBA basketball games. I remember Troy Villanueva. He literally went in the other person's tunnel to beat someone's ass. It's like, no, as soon as he went through that tunnel, they grabbed him because they know he's not supposed to be going down that tunnel.
And Villanueva runs towards the tunnel and motions to Hollins to come join him. Moments later, Villanueva came out of the Pistons locker room and sprinted towards Cleveland's locker room, but he was stopped by police.
So I feel like so much could have gone differently, even with the result of the game. And it stinks. Like Tom said, you're really these young men are gonna have this on their record for the rest of their lives now, is because they're so passionate about playing the sport, and then it just escalated. But yeah, that's mine. I'll go to
real quick. I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't mean to dominate the conversation, but you made a great point about the tunnel. Michigan sort of invites this with that tunnel thing. The week before the Michigan State game, if you remember, Penn State and Michigan had gotten into a little tussle, a little James Franklin thing, the same situation. And it's like, what if these things keep happening in Michigan's tunnel? I think the tunnel is part of the problem. Like, you should separate, to your point, Eric, you should separate the teams. I mean, they're still emotional, these are 18 to 22-year-old,
testosterone's flowing, man.
Yeah. So anyway.
Well, it's not the tunnel, it's the security in the tunnel. The tunnel, they're not going to spend $8 million to make a separate
to build a new tunnel.
Yeah.
I don't know. Put some sort of
security in the
barrier up. I don't know.
The thing is I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Are you buying or selling, Mike?
It's the security. You're right. I'm selling. You can't. It's politics, and it's the Washtenaw County folks. Obviously, are Michigan fans.
Yes.
Yeah. No. There's something fishy there going on.
Larry.
I'm also selling on it as well, because when I heard that, I wasn't surprised by it that they charged it, because Harbaugh wanted it, and then most of the people wanted it as well. But I'm selling on it because it was just so much. I'm just a person, when I look at this situation, it's just like, maybe one of the charges I probably would have said, okay, that probably what the young man has swung the helmet. That, you can't do that. That you taking a weapon, you could kill somebody, and then you just can't have that, because Myles Garrett at Cleveland Browns got in trouble for doing that same thing. So, but the other 6, I mean, this is all going to go to like Tom has said, why go and spoil 6 young men's lives over something that happens every week? I'm sorry, it does. It happens at the Division III level, FCS level, high school level. All of it happens all the time. It may not be a full-out brawl like maybe you saw there, but there are some pushing, some shoving. It happens when a bunch of young men come together and they play football. To the thing with the tunnel, totally agree that there needs to be something done. And the solution, where I was so disappointed in the Big Ten, is that they can solve this issue by simply placing a rule saying simply, the one team that does it right is Ohio State. Whenever they win, they find wherever their fans are, be it at home or on the road, they sing their alma mater. The losing team, most of the time, leaves the field. The other 13 teams in the Big Ten pick up that same motto, do it. You won't ever have that situation ever happen again.
Love it. Commissioner Larry Thomas. I love it.
We're all in agreement. Now we're going to do a quick buy. We'll make this really quick, just like, and we'll go around. I will go first. I am buying the New York Jets, baby. I'm buying them. I'm like what I've been seeing out of them. I'm kind of bummed for Zach Wilson. I don't know. I kind of like the guy. I'm weird like that, but it's cool that Mike White's getting an opportunity. Like, he's not this heralded, second overall pick. So if he was, this would be a lot different situation. They already probably gave him a contract extension at this point. But I'm buying the Jets. Not only am I just buying them this year, I'm buying them into the future too. Like, I really like what I see. I really like their defense. And nobody expected the New York Jets to be where they are right now. They have a huge game against Minnesota Vikings coming up. So it's, I'm buying the Jets. Tom, are you buying or selling the Jets?
I'm buying them to make the playoffs because some people at this point, some teams got to make the playoffs. I feel like everybody goes out of their way to lose each week in the NFL. I like their defense, but I'm selling on their ceiling. I just don't think. Look, as cool as like the story of Mike White is, like with that quarterback situation with no Breece Hall, I think their ceiling is a little bit limited.
Larry?
I'm buying the Jets as well. They shocked me. They impressed me because I thought when Breece Hall went down, that pretty much would be it. But they've shocked me. I mean, they're making this coaches are making the right decisions with them, and they're playing. So I'm buying them. I don't not to win the Super Bowl, but I definitely think they'll make the playoffs. So,
Mike,
I'm buying them also. I like their head coach. I wish we could have gotten the head coach.
Yes.
Over Campbell? Come on.
Yeah.
I'm very biased towards Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell's probably one of my favorite people in football ever.
I like him, but I don't know. Some of those decisions he makes, I don't know. Learning on the
He's
job.
got big old balls, baby.
Come on, man. I don't know, man. They some of the decisions are a little
Like not calling a timeout last week, not calling a timeout with the clock just ticked down.
Yeah. And going for 4th and 6, 4th and 8, and I don't know. What's that?
I'm a go for it guy. I actually like that.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah.
4th and 1 or 2, fine, but
change it up on them.
Anyway, no, I'm buying them.
Mike, it's on you. What are you buying?
I will buy the Red Wings. I think the Red Wings are going to make the playoffs. I like what they're doing. They're different than last year. Last year, there were some awful games, awful collapses. They're
Aren't they like 11-6 right now? I mean, they're playing well.
Something like that. Yeah, something like that. They had, unfortunately, they lost in overtime to Buffalo. They were down 4-1 in the third period, and they tied it. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but in the shootout, the Red Wings hit the post twice. So it's only 1 point they missed, but still, I'm looking forward to them. I want to go to a couple games this year. So,
is there anyone selling the Red Wings?
No.
Yeah, totally buying.
Yeah, I think we're all buying.
Joe Williams for being the first one who knew Dylan Larkin was going to be great. Talking about Dylan Larkin before he was even drafted.
Sure did.
That's your hockey guy right there.
Yeah.
Joe Williams knows
everything
about hockey. Yeah.
Hockey insider.
Is he still at Gale?
He is. He's a product manager.
Okay.
Yeah. Larry, what are you buying?
Man, you had touched on it earlier. I mean, we had already talked about it. Was Tom Izzo. I was buying what he had said about I like the fact he spoke up. I'm buying everything he had said about it, because when I heard it after the charges were done, I just felt from a media standpoint, everybody was like, "Yay, Michigan State got charged." But I buying him because I like what he said. He spoke for every Spartan, and I liked in his speech he was like, "Hey, I've been here longer than the president. I know they may not like what I said, but hey, I've been here longer than the president, and I've been here longer than the current AD. So I'm gonna say it," and that's just how he felt. And I bought everything. I just totally agree with me, because that's exactly what I was feeling at the time.
Tom, you buying or selling what Izzo said?
Oh, I'm buying. And I actually sell some of the stuff Izzo said, because he kind of gets like old man cranky these days. But I'm totally buying that for all the reasons Larry just mentioned.
I'm obviously buying it as well, but he did have to catch himself a few times. He's like, don't get me wrong, I thought it was really terrible what happened, to those players. But and then he'd be like, I just think it's unjust, whatever he said. But Mike, did you see the interview?
Yeah, he said what he had to say. That was fine.
You buying it?
I guess I'm buying it. Small buy.
All right. Tom, you're finishing up. What are you buying? This got to be a good one. Give us a good one.
Okay, I'm buying college football playoff expansion in 2024, 2025. And there's actually reasons to sell it because it could actually water down some of the big rivalries at the end of the season. If potentially, let's say Michigan, Ohio State, if both those teams were locked for the playoff, are they going to care about that game? I think they will. But I'm just buying the fact that some of these teams who maybe from smaller conferences will actually get a shot consistently year after year if the expansion continues in the future to actually, they can dream big. So.
Mike, you buying or selling the expansion?
I am definitely buying. I don't like the 4-team setup, especially this year is a perfect example. Ohio State's got nothing to lose; they can only go up, and USC and maybe TCU can only go down if they lose. No, I'm ready for the big boys, the big 12 teams. And I can't wait for, if it's going to happen, USC and UCLA to join the Big Ten. That'll be nice. And disband the Big Ten West. Come on, what is that?
Larry, you buying or selling?
I'm selling it, man, because I don't like the idea of the 12-team playoff. I just think it's a better way to do it. I mean, the 4 teams are, I just a better way to get to the 4. I will just say that because that's the goal anyway, is just to get to 4 teams anyway. But I just don't like the idea of watering down the season. To me, like you said, you had a great game that meant a whole lot, like between Michigan and Ohio State, winner in. And, it should just always be that way. Every game, the great strength that college football has is its regular season. And the more teams you add to a playoff, waters takes away the importance. I don't want it to be like college basketball, like Michigan State last night lost to Notre Dame, but who cares? Michigan State's going to be in the tournament anyway. I don't want it to be that way when Michigan State, loses a game. We'll be in the playoff anyway. It should never be that way. You need to find a way to do it. I don't like the committee way. I just think we need to I got a way to do it, but we just don't have time on the podcast to discuss it.
I'm going to buy it just because I'm all about excitement. I'm all about like opportunity. As a Michigan State fan, I don't think we're going to be saying Michigan State in the college football playoffs if like for the 4 teams. Like we got to see what happened when it did go down. I was so excited for that game, and obviously we know what happened that game, but like it gives teams and like, not those power teams a chance to prove themselves, man. Like I wouldn't mind seeing throw me out Boise State. I know they're not like that great this year, but like I would love to see if they had a good season, them go against like Georgia or Alabama. Like, yeah, they might be a terrible outcome, but we don't know until we see it. And that comes down to coaching and going into that game, watching so much more game film because they don't really know each other, right? And like it's harder to prep for a Boise State than it is like a big team. But for Larry, the reason I do agree with you a little bit is people kind of swayed me. I don't think Ohio State should be in the college football playoffs. I really don't. They had their opportunity to prove that they belong there, and they didn't even they kind of got blown out at the end of the day. I mean, it wasn't close in the second, like in the fourth quarter at all. So I don't think they deserve to be in it, but I can see them still getting in. Like, if everything falls that way, it's going to happen. So that's the only reason why I would sell it, but I'm about 90% buying.
Go Trojans tomorrow.
Yeah. Larry, it's Larry's son is a USC Trojan.
Yeah,
So
he
made the good jump. He made a good jump.
Yeah, he been calling me all week. He said, I'm nervous. I said, you have reason to be. So we'll see.
They could probably use him on defense, Larry, your son. They could use any
boy, what a horrible defense. Not bad as Michigan State's, but terrible defense.
Utah doesn't have much of a defense either, dude. They don't.
No, it should be a great game. That should actually be probably the best of the championship games, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think Utah, to be honest with you, I did.
Yeah. TCU UK State would be good too.
That'll be good. I agree. TCU is vulnerable there as well.
Yeah, that's going to be a very good game. Very good game.
All right, are you guys ready for the main event of the night?
Let's get ready to rumble.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
think you can already guess what it's going to be. Mr. Dalida, I'm going to need your help on this. So Tom and Larry will be competitively going against each other in this game that we're about to play. So if you've watched either of their podcasts, they are both very knowledgeable when it comes to what college a certain player has gone to. So what we're going to do here is, Mike, I'm putting you on the spot, is we're going to alternate. I'm going to say one, you're going to say one. But so when I say one, it's the first person that says it and gets it right. If there's any discrepancy or like it was a tie, Mike is the one who picks who got that question right. So that's another reason why he's on this. So nice little fun game here. You guys both kind of shit the bed when we did this separately with you guys. I was very disappointed. I thought it was going to be so much better. But yeah, so I'm going to go first. Mike, it can be, are we going to do basketball and football? Is that cool?
Up to you guys.
It's up. I'm asking Tom and Larry. What do you guys?
Oh yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, basketball and football, because
basketball and football. We're gonna do first to five. First to five is the winner. All right, I'm gonna go first.
I'll keep track of the score too.
All right, I'm gonna go first. Ready? Chauncey Billups,
Colorado.
Yeah,
Tom.
Okay.
Your turn, Mike.
Jared Goff.
Cal.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
And yeah, he's right.
Rodney Magruder.
Kansas State.
Wow. Larry, come on, man. He's running away with it.
Yeah, he is, man. He killed me. The first two I knew, he stopped me on that third one. Go ahead.
Let me think of somebody. I'm trying to think of somebody.
It can be a past player. It can be a retired player.
Lem Barney.
Ooh.
Oh man.
Oh.
Wow. Lem Barney.
Shows you my age.
I actually don't know. I'm just gonna guess Maryland.
He went to, I believe he went to Jackson State. He went to a small HBCC.
Yeah, that was a stumper there. Good. That was a good one.
He went to at Jackson State.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, didn't get that one.
What should I do? I need to make this a little harder.
I wish I had a computer too. The second computer I could have looked up.
Let's do Desmond Bain.
TCU.
I have to check it.
That's right. That's correct.
That is correct.
That's correct.
4-0 for the clinch.
4-0. Yeah. Let's go with Eric Bieniemy.
San Diego State.
Wait, like the coach?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. His nephew played basketball at UTEP. I think he went to Colorado though.
Bingo.
Yes. And I only know it because he got into some trouble. He got into some legal trouble back then at Colorado when he was going there.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Man.
That was incredible.
Yeah, it was.
he came to play today.
Great job, man. You got to tip your hat. Tip my hat to you, man.
You know what? I honestly, because last time Eric did this, I got like none of them right. So I just got lucky with this random set of questions that I knew. So
good job, man. I got to study harder next time.
I'm trying to play it cool, but I'm actually pretty pumped inside.
You should have saw when you were like got 3 in a row, and I was just like, "This is you." You're like you were so locked in.
When he tell you with Chauncey Billups and Jared Goff, I knew it. He just whoop. It's just like if we had a buzzer.
I know. I'm sorry.
If I did the buzzer, it would be.
It's hard to do via Zoom. It's really hard to do via Zoom. Maybe next year for the draft, we'll do it in person.
Hey, congratulations, man! Good job, very good job.
Appreciate it.
Colorado. He went to Colorado too.
Oh, Chauncey.
Maybe he was roommates with
enemy.
Congrats to Tom. We have one final question I want to ask before we hang this up for the week, and that is,
What can I do with $5?
Gee, I don't know. Buy a bullet and rent a gun?
Purdue versus Michigan in Indianapolis this weekend. The spread is 17 points. Question for all three of you guys: who wins? And then, actually, let's do which way would you bet this game? Are you taking Purdue plus 17, Michigan minus 17? And if you're taking Purdue, do they have a chance to win outright? Let's go with Mike.
I think Michigan will win relatively easy. I wouldn't bet the spread. What I might do is take halftime. I saw it is Michigan minus 9. So maybe they'd be ahead 17-7, 17-3, something like that. I might do Michigan minus 7 at the half. Michigan minus 9 at the half, sorry.
That's actually not a bad bet. Tom, What are you doing?
Purdue to cover. Purdue to win. First Big Ten championship game. Aiden O'Connell dealing with family tragedy. He's going to come back. He's going to win. He's going to lead them to victory. It's going to be an incredible. The stadium is just going to be a sea of whatever their color is, whatever gold that is. I know, but I don't know if like a certain, every gold has it's probably some specific boiler gold or something. Anyway, the point is, Michigan will not be up for it. Talk about a letdown spot for Michigan. They were just in the Big Ten championship game last year. Their fans won't show out quite as much. Do I actually think they're going to win? Would I actually bet it outright? No, but I'm just holding out hope.
That's a nice money line payout.
Hey, big time.
Oh yeah, it'd be huge.
Larry,
I like Tom's idea. I only wish it was reality, because I know that Michigan's going to cover this game and win big. And they always start slow. So the first half, if you were betting in the 9, they only would be up by or less Purdue plus 9 or whatever. Probably be right. But in the end, they'll run away. They'll win the game, because the thing with the Big Ten West was so abysmal this year. It's just, there's just no way that they're going to be able to stay in this game. What did you say, 16 and a half or 17 and a half?
17.
17?
It's 17 straight. Yeah, 17 straight.
17 straight. Yeah, I think they cover and Michigan wins, and it's going to be a blowout. Ball game.
I am taking Purdue in the points. I just don't see Michigan winning by 17. I just don't. Something's going to happen down the stretch, even if it's in garbage time. Give me like 14, 15 points. I might do that. I'm not going to bet like a full unit. I'm probably just do like a half, but that's what I'm going to do. Quickly, does Michigan win the national championship? Mike?
No.
Larry?
No. Dear God, no.
Tom?
No.
I say no as well. I really hope not. And
they get to the final. They may get to the final, but I don't think they'll win it all.
And final question: do your Detroit Lions beat Jacksonville at home on Sunday? The spread's 1. Lions are giving 1, so pretty much straight up. Mike?
I'll say yes.
Larry?
Yes, they will
Tom?
win Sunday.
Yes, Lions are good. Yeah.
I might bet that game pretty heavy. I hate betting my team's heavy. The Vikings have been paying off for me, so I might bet them heavy. They're playing the Jets though, so that was a good way to finish. Any last words for anybody? This was fun. I'm glad I did this. I'm glad I put you three together. I think it was a really good mix.
Yeah, thanks for including me. Let me know as soon as you guys get a time for the draft. Let me know. I'm ready. And
how would you feel about being? I know that, don't think of that as like an insult, but how would you feel about coming to the draft next year and just doing the draft board for us? Like that's fun. You put the stickers on.
Yeah. Let me know.
Have a couple beers. Talk about horses. Yeah.
Sure.
That'd be fun.
Sure. Unless I would.
Unless you want back in, don't you?
If there's an opening, yeah, I think I would.
Oh,
there we go.
I'm buying.
Can we bump it to 12 teams?
Let's do it. We're getting you back. I mean, I don't run this league.
I
but
could
I'd love
easily
that.
get one more person that would fit in really well with the league. So
So
I like
I'm
that. If it's up to
I'm
me, it's a
buying-
yes.
I'm buying the 2023 fantasy football. So
You guys heard it here
buying.
first. This is hot soup. Mike
Yes.
Dalida will be back in the league next year, one way or another. If it's 12
do
teams or 10
Love it.
teams.
You've been missed.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I even asked him before the season started. I said, Mike, we have a spot left. Do you want it? He goes, nope, I'm going to sit out again this year. I'm like, no fantasy football for me.
I said, as horrible as I've been the last few years, I wouldn't join a fantasy league that would have me as a member. So
That's good.
All right,
That was
cool
like-
guys. I appreciate
Thanks.
you guys. Appreciate you guys joining, and I should have this up pretty quickly here.
Hey, this reminds me of the good old days. I miss hashing it out, having it out with Larry.
Yeah, man, we gonna have to have do it again, man, because I got a couple of comments about some of your opinions back there. But yeah, we'll do it again.